Is it time to quit weed? Something tells me that you already know the answer to that question, but as someone who has smoked weed for 5 years, almost every day, I can say with confidence that I understand it fully. Weed waters down the fire of your soul. And so that if you have that fire, you'll notice. You'll notice it by an unbearable friction between, on the one hand, the way you are living, and on the other hand, what could be. I still remember vividly one morning, just a morning like many, where I had classes of my study at that time, and in an impulse decided, like many days before, why not just roll up a joint, skip the first few classes. And that specific morning was the first morning that I felt that friction. I saw in front of me exactly how this day would go. I would roll up this joint, smoke it, skip the first few classes, start playing League of Legends or FIFA, and I will probably skip the other classes as well, because I will roll up another one. And together these two would enforce each other and distract me from what was really important. But that morning, that pain started. And so you would think, oh, so you quit at that moment because you felt it. No, I didn't. I continued for a long time because I denied the reality of it. I denied the fact that there was a raging fire within me that needed to be explored, that there's potential within me that I know can be valuable to others, and I'm just not giving it to the world. I understood those things, but I continued smoking and playing video games anyways. And so what always happens in this case, where you have a man who has that fire, is that you become anxious, because your body has only a few ways in telling you that you're fucking up, that you're living out of alignment with yourself. Anxiety is one of them. And it took a long time of me becoming anxious socially or generally, and sometimes even paranoid when I was smoking in just very comfortable settings. For me to accept that statement of weed watering down the fire of your soul, and that is a very painful occurrence, that is a very sad reality to live in. And the tricky thing with weed is that it gives you this false sense of completeness, right? It makes you content, and it gives you joy in a moment where you haven't earned it, and that is unsustainable. So that friction, if you feel it, it's serving a purpose. It is telling you, making apparent this dissonance between who you should be, who you really are, what you can do for this planet, the value you can deliver, the man you can become, versus what you are doing right now. And that dissonance between those two is very painful. So if you ask me, is it time to quit smoking weed? Then I don't think I need to answer that question. I think the question answers itself if you are a man who relates to this. If you are a man who says, I do feel that friction, I do feel like I could be more, and I know that weed is slowing me down, that is watering me down. Of course, you don't need to do shit, right? You don't need to stop smoking weed. There's just one decision that leads to a painful existence, and there's one decision that leads to a beautiful one. And that is only the case when there's this friction. It begins with unlived potential, creating that friction in your soul, in your body, right? And then you would deny it, and then it becomes a physical experience. It becomes anxiety, it becomes something you can actually feel and taste, right? And then there's this cycle of not wanting to be anxious, so you smoke more and you deny more, and the cycle continues and continues until either you hit a brick wall if you let it, and then you will stop, or you will simply do what you know you should be doing, and it is laying it down right now. I chose to almost run myself into the ground and failing another education and so on and so forth. It isn't necessary. You don't need more evidence for you to answer that question. So yeah, I guess that's my answer. to the question, is it time to stop smoking weed or playing video games or watching porn? I think the answer genuinely is you don't need to stop. If there's no fire, then hey, you might as well continue, do whatever you want. But if there's that fire, then I can tell you in advance, this is how it went for me. This is how I've seen it with many of my clients, time and time again. It will not get easier, it will only get worse if you keep denying the potential that is within you. For those types of men that have that fire, it simply means you have the mission of exploring that potential. And you can never run away from it. That is the truth. That is the reality of it. You cannot run away from the fact that you have potential. I hope that helps you answer that question for yourself. You got this.